Hey, Cheryl.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. Okay, so Cheryl, you've signed a 1 year engagement as a fractional CMO. Okay, today's day one, so you're walking in, right? Today's the kickoff. What is the first thing or first problem you go looking for, or like the first big thing you start to tackle, even if the customer doesn't really understand that should be the first thing? And also maybe tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, the first thing I do is we need to get clarity as to what the actual marketing programs are within this organization. We need to get a better idea on their strategy and what they're doing, and really look at a variety of projects that they've done, just a real analysis and an audit of what they look like online, so that we walk in with information that is beneficial to them, that they can see things. We also take the emotion out of it. So those are some of the first things I do, even before I walk through the door.
Right.
And then when I start talking to them, we start having collaborative discussions with all the key stakeholders within that organization. I want clarification on the organization's goals, what their priorities are, as well as their areas of opportunity. And so there's a lot of conversation, a lot of things that are put together, as well as expectations on my side and their side on there. So as far as information about me, I'm Cheryl Ohern with spinmarket.com. We are a full service digital marketing agency, and I also work as a fractional CMO for companies across the United States, whether it be on site or as a just a online individual to help them out. And I've been doing this work for over 30 years. I started out in the very basic marketing that was going on, where it was all print and radio and TV, and it progressed into the digital world, and worked very strategically with clients to understand digital and to embrace digital, because there's a lot of people that are still worried about it.
Okay, and hi, Lauri.
Hi, how are you doing?
Okay, good, thank you. So, Lauri, same question. Like 1 year engagement, today's day one. Is there a problem you go looking for because you know it's going to be there? Your clients always seem to have this problem even if they don't know it, or is there like a thing that you normally, encounter on your clients that you say, okay, yep, yet another time I have to tackle this first, and also same for you, like let everyone know who you are.
Yes. So my typical clients are C-level executives. I'm usually dealing with the CEO or the chief revenue
Mm-hmm.
officer, the CRO, in small to mid-sized businesses. They typically don't understand marketing, and they tend to these mid-sized organizations, small to mid-sized businesses, tend to jump on the trend bandwagon, hiring digital or social media agencies, expecting results, and they have no one to manage it. The CEO is typically very busy. They're not getting sales traction. They're frustrated. They turn to IT or finance, trying to understand what's going on, and they're looking for solutions. So typically, I will go in and try to figure out, why the programs aren't working. I have a whole process in terms of discovery and trying to figure out what their goals are, and then trying to build the marketing out from there, whether they have an existing marketing organization or they have partners that aren't working. I have partners I work with as a fractional CMO. So that's typically what I see. It's almost like spaghetti on the wall approach, and they're trying to do something, but they're not seeing results.
Right. And let's switch from the CMO to the CEO for a second.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm the CEO. It was either my decision or the ELT's decision or the board's decision to contract with a fractional CMO for a year. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
first time I've ever worked with a fractional CMO. How am I, or how is my company going to get maximum value out of that fractional CMO? Or how does a company typically waste the money that they spend on a fractional CMO? Lauri.
Okay. I would say a willingness to commit to marketing funding,
Yeah.
a commitment to working with me and devoting the time to working with me, and a commitment to the discovery process, like organizational goals, infrastructure, how marketing fits into the overall mix and contributes to sales, and then willingness to invest in the technology and the right marketing programs that'll drive results. No more spaghetti on the wall approach. So, that's typically, how they would get maximum value out of working with me.
And Cheryl, how about you? How do they
Totally
get
agree.
max value, or how do they waste the money? How
Well,
do they commit
exactly.
to it and then not take full advantage?
Exactly on there. So, as Lauri said, the spaghetti on the wall mentality, they're just throwing it up against the wall and hoping it sticks. I use that analogy all the time. So I love hearing you say that, Lauri. But, they need to understand define the goals and expectations. They also need to be able to understand that we're going to provide access to resources that they may not have even known were available at any time out there,
Mhm.
as well as provide to them some cues to questions that they can ask. So if they want to work with another company, what kind of questions do they need to understand and know when they're starting to work with that company, and give them, that background and empower their decision making. Yes, but at the same time showing them how that decision is going to affect them negatively or positively. They may have expectations that in 30 days they're going to see a digital campaign work, and you need to understand, no, if it's a branding campaign, it's going to be going 6 months, 9 months, 12 months before you're going to maybe even see anything. Again, understanding what's a call to action and
Right.
a branding situation, and understanding as well as how we want to integrate the team internally, from the CEO all the way through their marketing as well as their sales. I mean, it's a team effort within the organization. Who's answering the phones and all the way through.
Well, let's talk about the team then, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're walking in and there's an existing marketing team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Junior people, mid-level folks, probably little or no management layer and no leadership layer, obviously, because
Right.
they'd have a CMO if they had a leadership layer, right? Like, what's sort of like the thing you try to be aware of, or the first thing you try to do when you're now like moving into an existing team and you're the outsider?
Yeah. Well, there's several key lessons that we need to keep in mind when you're navigating that kind of dynamic environment effectively. So we need to understand, first of all, the dynamics of the organization. What there, what's the existing team dynamics? What are the roles? What are the responsibilities? What's the relationship? And recognize those strengths and weaknesses of those team members when you're planning strategically on how they're going to be building those relationships, and how you need to acknowledge their expertise within the organization, as far as what has been done in the past, what's happened, good, bad, and put those things in there, and communicate transparency, making sure that they understand that you're constantly working with the team to hit their objectives, their strategies, their plans, alignment and their buy-in of what you're suggesting they do, and seek input and feedback. Their input and feedback is very important, whether it's positive or negative. It helps you to better plan how you need to present that information to them, and grow that team. And addressing any resistance that they may have out there. How are you going to address it? Get them to understand a little bit, or get yourself to understand a little bit more about why they're resisting it. Is it because the famous word change, they just don't like change? Or is it because they have a valid situation there and a valid concern that you may not have known the dynamics of initially, and need to put that in there and celebrate those successes? Make sure that they get the kudos that they deserve in something that happens great, and make sure that everybody knows about it when you're having your meetings and conversations with them.
Lauri, let's like flip that question around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What are the sort of big mistakes that, let's say you've been a marketer or even a CMO before, but in a regular career, so you're in the same place for years and years, and now like you're coming in as a fractional CMO to an existing team. Like, what are like any of the big sort of warnings you'd give other fractional CMOs about coming into a new team, an existing but new to you team? What should they not do?
What should they not do?
Probably not imply they're going to fire everyone. Probably
Right.
a bad thing.
What should they not do? That's an interesting question, because typically what I see when I walk into organizations is if they have an existing marketing team, depends on the size of the organization, but assuming they're not too sophisticated, which is why they're hiring a fractional CMO. It sometimes it's grown organically, and they have taken people that are not marketers
Yeah.
and put them in the wrong roles, like kind of the square peg in the round hole sort of a syndrome. And they typically on some level know that they don't know what they don't know. And they're not necessarily, they're threatened because they don't feel like they're doing maybe what they should be doing, or they don't know what they should be doing. So it depends. If they're very loyal employees, that they've been there a long time, sometimes you've got to kind of work them into the mix, but that's very hard because they may not have the skills. So maybe it's a matter of putting them in the right roles. But sometimes it's a matter of hiring outside agencies and outside partners to bring the organization to the right level instead of putting these people in the wrong roles.
Well, I'm in favor of that, obviously, since I
Right.
am an outside partner.
Right. And those
But,
people can learn to manage things
Yeah.
if they're good managers instead of actually doing the work.
What you were just saying reminded me of a conversation. I was writing a cold email sequence for an ad agency down in Orlando, and they specialize in sort of manufacturing, specialty manufacturing, industrial tech kind of companies. And I said, tell me about these companies. He says, the two things you need to know, Dean, are one, most of them are 50 employees or less. And two, the head of marketing is an engineer who one day was told, you're in charge of marketing now.
Right. Exactly.
That's it. Come up in market. No, you're in charge of marketing. We need someone in marketing. You're going to add this. And like next thing, 3 years in, they're like, why am I even here? Right. Okay.
And they're and they may be doing technical documentation or something very technical, but not broadcasting it out.
The other biggest thing that happens is their social media, they do great work on their personal Facebook page. Right. So then we're going to put them in charge of all our marketing, and you're just going.
Or maybe they've learned the tool or the tools,
right.
but not the fundamentals about why we use that tool or what that tool is really supposed to do. Right.
Or maybe it's not integrated with the other tools in the marketing stack, and you're not reporting it to the right people to take action.
Yeah. All right. So now that we've, beat up on this fictitious person, let's be more generous and let's flip over. So here's a scenario. Let's say it's a very small marketing team. One of them, does the social media, one does the email, one does the website, whatever. It's very, right. And, they're an afterthought in a lot of the big decisions. So you're one of those junior marketers or mid-level marketing people on the marketing team, right, of some company. And on Friday, you get the announcement, email probably, hey, on Monday, a fractional CMO will start working in marketing, right? And so you go to Google to find out what the hell a fractional CMO even is, right? And you have the weekend to think about it. Like, this is going to be your first week. So, like, as a junior or mid-level person, like, here's someone who's probably got a lot of experience across multiple companies and industries in marketing, right? And is now, titularly in charge of all of marketing. So, like, what should you be thinking about? What questions should you be asking? What moves should you be making to sort of, improve your career at that company if you're that junior marketer? I know it's been a while since any of us were junior marketers, right? But like put yourself in that person's shoes. Like, what should you do? What should you ask to talk about? What should you try to show them? What should you try to, get from them? We'll start with Lauri.
Okay. I'm assuming that this person is somebody who cares and adds value and really, is interested.
You can assume they have green hair and race snakes if you want to. It's completely fictitious.
Right. So I would say this junior marketer can start talking about the potential for AI in the organization, right? Which would likely resonate with the fractional CMO because that makes marketing more productive and After all, marketing is one of the top areas where we're seeing AI improvements. And that would enable that junior marketer maybe to free up some more of the manual or less satisfying tasks in their job and free up time to do, maybe they're a very creative person or a great writer or something, free them up to do more higher level tasks that may be more challenging. So that would be one approach that junior marketer could take to not only further their career, but add value for their first meeting with the fractional CMO.
This is episode 47, and I've been asking that question for the last 20 plus episodes, and you're the first person to ever bring up AI. How about you, Cheryl? What should that person be thinking about or asking or trying to learn from that CMO?
Well, first of all, embrace the opportunity to work with somebody outside of the business, the company, and bringing in their resources on it. Understanding that they've worked with a lot of different companies in a lot of different settings, and that history and that information really can be a huge benefit. And the AI issue is probably one of the number one things that they should hopefully embrace as well, whether they have, that they don't understand it or not. There are some real benefits of it. And that's, usually I get asked to speak about AI quite frequently, and understanding the different software products and services out there that you can use that can streamline some of those tedious jobs that Lauri just talked about and make it much more efficient for you. And as I tell clients all the time in working with them, we got to go through the rough before we get to the fluff, because they always want to do the fun ads. They always want to do the neat stuff, neat photos, neat social media and everything like that, and embracing some of the things that can be implemented so they get rid of the rough and actually have more time to spend on the fluff end of it. Really, that increases their interest and increases their creativity within the organization, and be able to embrace that, take a deep breath and just say, okay, I may not always agree with everything initially, but I'm going to give it a good old Yahoo and try to better understand what they are communicating and putting together. And on the role of the CMO is understanding the different age groups and the different situations that they've gone through in the marketing world, so that you can better address that as well for them. So lots, again, just on the CMO side, on my side, I sit back and listen, and I try to emulate that to the staff as well, and say, take a deep breath and just listen to what we're going to be doing, and come back with ideas, because we're open to ideas, and you're going to bring resources together that we didn't know of initially when we come into the situation.
Okay, so Cheryl, let's finish up by going back up to the board, CEO, executive leadership team level. Okay, so you've made the decision collectively, probably, to bring on a fractional CMO for a year. Okay.
Yep.
Final question: should you, as the company, as the CEO, should you be thinking of that 1 year as a sprint or as the first year of a marathon?
That's going to depend on some of the information that you collect initially up front, because a marathon is going to be a very intense-ish situation where you're going to go in and do audits and evaluations and really put together a very detailed strategic plan. And it's going to incorporate both branding and sales on there. And it's going to be going for 12, 16, 24 months out with plans on there. So again, that's if that's their goal. If they're looking for just a quick trying to get cash in the door, that's a sprint. But again, there are some certain things that you need to be looking at in order to make that sprint actually work. You just can't go out there and expect resources if you've never had any kind of digital or online presence in the past. So those things have to be thoroughly discussed in the conversation to get a better idea what is the goal of the company, and get them and have them understand what happens in a marathon and what happens in a sprint. And really that having long-term goals makes the sprint part much more effective than just going in with the idea that, hey, we need cash in the door, let's hurry up and do something, and we expect you to turn it around in 30 days.
Right.
You know, those things have to be discussed.
Yeah, it's good. You have to know ahead of time, right? You never want to be in a marathon when someone else thinks you're supposed to be in a sprint. That's like a very different pace, right?
Yeah.
Very true.
Roy, I've been like flipping questions on you, and I'm going to finish up by doing the same thing. In your experience, do you find that most clients think that bringing on a fractional CMO is a sprint scenario or a marathon scenario?
It's very unique.
Yeah.
Depending on the situation. I think if their intent is to build up a marketing staff, and a lot of the private equity clients will want to do that to add value because potentially they want to sell in the next 3 to 5 years. That's one scenario. And I have worked with clients where after working with them for 3 months, 4 months, they want to hire me on full time for, a period of time until they sell. And sometimes it's very attractive, and I have to kind of weigh that offer. Other times they have very specific goals: get sales flowing through, get the program moving. We need sales now. And that's, obviously that's a sprint. But I think it's a level of commitment. The client, they have to be committed to the marketing process, to investing in this. And you can make recommendations, but that's just part of it. They've got to invest in the infrastructure and the people or the partners to make everything work together, and then have somebody to manage it going forward. It's not just a do, deliver, and leave and let go. There's got to be a maintenance process going forward. So that has been my experience.
All right. We're running up on our time. So I want to, first of all, say thanks. I've learned a lot in this session. I really appreciate both of you being here. Cheryl, who should contact you and how should they get in touch with you?
Well, actually, a small to medium sized businesses are the ones that we specialize in, as far as services internally with my company, Spin Market, but as well as a CMO, fractional CMO. So anybody that is looking at evaluation of their marketing, as well as support, or as Lauri brought up, looking at potentially selling their company and wanting to increase revenue and that expansion on there, all of those would be examples of companies that we would work with and have worked with over the past. And they can contact me at spinmarket.com, and market has 2 Ks. So it's spin, MARKET.com. And, or, they can email me as well. Go to our website. All of our information is there for them to see. And you can find me on LinkedIn and any other social media platform as well. And DM me if you would like. And be happy to have a conversation and see what we can do for your company and make the rest of 2024 and 25 and forward a better year, better company year.
Lauri, who should contact you and how should they do it?
So I didn't get a chance to introduce myself, but kind of go through my background. But my focus, I'm owner and president and founder of B2B Marketing Strategies. And we focus on small to mid-sized businesses, helping them to achieve growth goals by providing fractional CMO services and other project-related services. So my focus is...
Oh
no, she went away.
We lost Lauri. There she is. Hold on. Back.
Are you there?
Yeah. So you were saying your focus is...
Oh, yes. My focus is B2B marketing for manufacturing, distribution, and technology. That's a lot of what I do. It's all business to business. So I would say the best way to get in touch with me is my website, B2B Marketing Strategies, LLC.com, or you can email me at Christiansen at my B2B Marketing Strategies, LLC.com. I realize it's long. And or LinkedIn, it's Lauri Christiansen, MBA PMP, and you can connect with me and my business there.
Right on. All right. Thanks, Cheryl, and
Thank
thanks,
you so
Lauri,
much.
for
This has
being
been
here. I really
great.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Dean.
All right. Thanks, everyone. See you in the
Thanks,
next
Steve.
episode.